Hello, my name is Brian Chavez, and today I'm going to be talking about how History 101 has changed me as a person, has made me grown as an individual, and has made me educated about the history that's gone on in the US and leading up to the country of the United States of America. And this course has changed me by truly understanding that life isn't fair to certain people who can't control other people's actions just because you as a person are in their way of the specific person and their goal, and they will do whatever it takes to reach their goal, even if it's dehumanizing people, is going against laws, and doing stuff that they know and understand isn't the right thing to do, to be treating humans or whatever it is. But it doesn't matter because they will do whatever it takes to reach their goal. And the first thing that I want to bring up is how Columbus treated the Taino people when he first encountered them on the voyage to Asia. Asia was his overall goal, or to reach Asia. Asia was his overall goal, and he had this mindset of when he reached these people that they will make great servants, they will be easily converted to Christianity, and they would do as one wishes to do. And this just made me grow as a person by understanding that Columbus had this mindset already. It was a premature mindset that whoever's in my way, I'm going to do whatever it takes to reach my goal. And whether it's against his morals or not, or people advising him what he's doing is not the best thing, he's going to do it. And it doesn't matter because he wants his goal so bad that him and the Spaniards are going to rape women, are going to outright kill them, are going to enslave these and sell them as slaves, even though they were treated with hospitality and they were not hostile against Columbus and the Spaniards. But it didn't matter because Columbus was going to do whatever it takes to get to his goal. And this made me grow as a person because it made me understand that people that make derogatory terms against Native Americans or any other ethnicity group, they aren't educated enough to understand what they went through and how this event in history still affects generations after generations of people, and people that aren't that ethnicity or race like myself. This truly affects me because these people weren't supposed to be treated like this, but simply because Columbus encountered them on his voyage to Asia, they got the short end of the stick. And I've grown because I'm not mad at people that make these remarks at people or these derogatory terms to people, because they simply aren't educated enough to understand that they don't have the choice, that they don't understand that some people didn't have the choice to defend themselves or to try to make them realize that they're doing something wrong. The second thing I want to talk about is how the Constitution in 1787 acknowledged and safeguarded the institution of slavery, simply because they needed the southern states to benefit out of this so they can create the Union. And even though that the Declaration of Independence stated all men are created equal, there was nothing that prohibited or acknowledged that slavery was a bad thing, just because the South was not going to acknowledge the Constitution if that took away slavery. And it's very unfortunate to know that the founding fathers, some acknowledged that slavery wasn't the best or wasn't very kind to a specific race, and They simply let it go by because they wanted the South to be on the to contribute and to accept the Constitution, because they wanted to create the Union, even though it went against slavery and didn't defend people that were enslaved. And this made me grow as a person, because growing up, we would make remarks of enslaved people or make jokes about people who are slaves. And it hits the heart, because I understand that these enslaved people didn't have a choice because they were sold, and that even when they were brought to America and generations have gone through, that still they were not acknowledged in the Constitution to have human rights, or to be acknowledged as a human, or not as property. And it just made me grow, because I have friends and people who still make remarks of slaves and think it's a joke. And at this point, after learning all about this, I don't think it's a joke. And it's hard for people, especially of the African descent, to hear these jokes around them, and to kind of be brushed off because, oh, it happened a long time ago. And in fact, it didn't happen a long time ago. It wasn't that long ago. And it just hurts to understand that the founding fathers brushed it underneath the rug because they wanted to create the Union, and it didn't matter that they were going against their own morals, because they wanted their goal so bad that they were going to please the South by making sure that slave trade was going to happen at least 20 years after the Constitution was signed. And it's just made me grow as a person by accepting these bad events have happened. But now, after being educated from this course, I'm going to speak up for myself, and I'm going to speak up for others, and simply try to educate people and make them acknowledge that, yeah, you might think this is a joke, but you don't understand what these people have gone through, and you don't understand how they weren't given the same opportunity as another person simply because of their skin color. And the main objective of this is the founding fathers did whatever it took, and that's turning a blind eye on the institution of slavery, simply because they wanted the Constitution to get signed, and they were not going to get it signed without the South's approval. And without the South's approval, it was going to go nowhere. So they had to turn their head and make sure that slavery was going to happen in the United States of America, because they were so desperate for their goal that even though they knew slavery was not the right thing to do, they were so desperate for their goal that they were going to do whatever it took, and they turned the blind eye to get it passed. The next thing I want to talk about is how President Jackson believed it was ridiculous for the federal government to treat Amerindians nations as they were sovereign and independent states, when they were actually their own state and had their own territory. And it's very hard to accept that Jackson not overruled, but ignored the Supreme Court ruling that the Cherokee could occupy its own territory, and that Georgia cannot force them to remove them on their own territory, and that Jackson supported Georgia to ignore the court's decision and to remove them. And This incident made me grow as a person by not getting mad at people who don't understand how this can hurt people and how derogatory terms of Native American or of indigenous people still hurt a specific race and ethnicity. And this specific made me grow because just Jackson's just overall kind of ignorance on just ignoring the Supreme Court, supporting Georgia simply because, again, their goal was to get land to plant cotton and to make all that profit off of cotton for textiles or for cotton textiles. And it hurts a lot to understand that the Cherokee Nation was supposed to be protected because they were their own sovereign state and they were supposed to be on their territory that they were given. And Jackson and these people in the South ignored the Supreme Court and forcibly removed these people from their homeland towards the West because they were in their way of their goal. The main thing is these incidents that I'm talking about is all because people have goals to reach and they're going to do whatever it takes. And in this incident, Jackson and the South did whatever it's going to take to remove these people to get to their goal, which was to make the plantations for cotton. And simply they went against the Supreme Court decision. They ignored it, and they were so desperate for their goals that they removed these families, these tribes from their territory because they wanted to reach their goal so badly. And this incident has made me grow as a person by forgiving people who have made derogatory terms to me or to other ethnicities and races. And it's made me grown because some people don't know these stuff, or they might do, but they don't acknowledge them in their own mindset. And to me, I have to be the bigger person when it comes to stuff like this because nowadays I'm going to speak up about this stuff. And I don't take this stuff very lightly anymore because when you learn so much in detail stuff about all these events of people who got the short end of the stick because they were simply in the way of other people's goals, it makes me grow as a person by speaking up for these specific people and myself. And this course has just changed me by understanding the cruel events that have happened leading up to the Constitution of the United States and even afterwards. Just made me realize that people will go against their own morals, will know that whatever they're doing is not okay, but they're so desperate in their own mindset that they're gonna do it. And it's very unfortunate to understand that these people in the past did whatever it took to get to their goal, even if it was removing people, enslaving people, outright killing people. And it hurts to understand that these people went through such a hard time, whether it was the Tiano people, the enslaved people, of not getting recognition of enslavement in the Constitution, and the Cherokee people, all because they were in the way of other people's goals and they were going to get the short end of the stick just because of who they were and where they were in history and where they were physically on earth. And this one has made me grow as a person because, I now understand when I'm driving through Colorado, Nevada, Northern California, that people were removed from east of the Mississippi And then they were moved to west of the Mississippi and they were pushed all westward simply because they were just in their way. And it just makes me realize of the cruel stuff that has happened on North America land under the country of the United States. The last thing I want to talk about, which made me grow as a person, is how the Kansas-Nebraska Act overruled the Missouri Compromise simply because they wanted to have a transcontinental railroad connecting the east to the west. And this one made me grow again because laws were broken in a way when the Missouri Compromise was there. They wanted to give these new territories popular sovereignty by letting the people decide what's best for them, let them choose, when technically that shouldn't have happened because the Missouri Compromise was already enforced. It was already known that north of this latitude line, slavery was not okay. South of this line, slavery was okay. And again, someone wanted a railroad. It didn't matter that there was already a law saying this can't happen. There was going to be that new Kansas-Nebraska Act because they wanted their goal, which was a railroad. And this one made me grow by understanding that, again, people will do whatever it takes to reach their goal, whether it's being mean as a person, breaking laws, making new laws to override the old laws, that people do whatever it takes to get what they want. And again, all these events and the last event with the Kansas-Nebraska Act has made me grow as a person because people are so desperate for what they want that they will overrule laws, make people feel bad for who they are, make things not, they will make things happen simply because they want that goal so bad. And for them, they just want their goal. And unfortunately, it's a sad reality that this Nebraska or the Kansas-Nebraska Act was in place, even though the Missouri Compromise was already in act. And, it's very unfortunate that they wanted a railroad and that they overruled the Missouri Compromise simply because they wanted their goal. And this just makes me realize people are just so desperate for their goal that they're going to do dehumanizing stuff. They're going to overrule stuff, and they're going to just simply do whatever they want, even though if it goes against their own morals, and even if it goes against laws and stuff that's already in act. And this overall course has just made me kind of more at peace because I'm educated enough for this stuff. I'm not going to get angry at people who aren't educated anymore. It's not going to bring me anger. It's just going to make me want to educate them and to stand up for people that couldn't stand up in the past. And it's just going to make me a better person. It's going to make me hopefully give the next generation the educational purposes to understand how these bad history events can make you as a person grow, can make you understand where other people are coming from when it comes to racial equality, when it comes to people saying people are too sensitive from these events that it happened X amount of years ago, but in reality it still affects certain people. And this course has just made me grow as a person overall by understanding, being educated, and simply wanting the best for people who might do these things to reach their goals, even if it means going against their own morals, going against laws, and doing the bad things. And, I hope I come across people like this who might have this mentality of, I don't care if it's gonna break homes or break a certain ethnicity up or dehumanize certain people. And I hope I can come across to them and make them understand that they shouldn't be doing stuff like this. And I'm just very grateful that this course has educated me enough to understand the cruel facts and the events that have happened up to these years. And I'm just very grateful to, be in this course and to see myself grow and to not have anger and to want to educate people who dismiss these horrible events. Thank you.